So I've got a device here that they sell at Walmart. This is the display that they put up to show you what it looks like when it projects this onto the side of your house, onto your garage, or something like that. I want to take this thing apart, show you what's inside of it, show you guys how simple this actually is, and maybe do some reverse engineering on the circuit board. So let's check this thing out. So this is the little device we were just looking at. It's actually displaying on my hand now, as you can see. The front of it looks fairly simple. I'm guessing what it's going to be is in each one of these lenses, there's going to be a set gobo that's going to be inside of these, and that's what's actually spinning to display the different things. Obviously, if you get closer, it's out of focus. If you get too far away, it's out of focus as well. So it's set to a certain depth just for a display model. Right now, it's running off of a power supply that I've got at 5 volts, and it's running at 130 milliamps is what this runs off of. So this is not one of the fixtures that you can just take it and put it on your house and it is going to display very bright. It's made for a display at one of the stores. Like I said, I got this one from Walmart. That way it does not super bright where you have to worry about being too bright for people to look at on a display. So it's just something small that sits on the shelf so they get an idea of what it looks like. So to get into this, it will require a Torx screwdriver. So I'm going to use a T10 on it. And there is 3 screws in a triangle pattern. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the power supply here. So I'm going to undo these screws real quick. So there's one of them. Let's go ahead and undo this, which is a mount for the light fixture itself. And it's got this little flat piece that goes into the cardboard. So it screws into the cardboard and holds the base on. So that way it points directly at the back of the display case with the product on either side, so that way you can see it. So what I may have to do is I may have to pause momentarily and get this last screw out here on the bottom side, because it's actually over here where this foot is. And I can't seem to get the screwdriver in here the correct way. So let me pause real quick and I'll come back right before I pop this off. So I just realized that you can take the foot off of this. So it's got a Torx screw in it, so you can just undo it and take the foot off of that. So let's pop this lens open here. Is it going to be snapped on? Is that how they're doing this? Okay, so it is snapped on. Okay. So it does have these snaps that go right around the outside of it. If you can see them there on the camera, there's one there, there's one there, and one there. So this is inside the housing. Not a whole lot to see. So you do have this wheel. There is no gobos on this wheel. There is a lens. Let's see if you can see it, if I can get the light just right. There's actually a lens down in here. Let me get a flashlight real quick so you can see this. So there is a lens down in the bottom of it right there. And you can actually see one of the gobos as I angle it just right. That looks like a snowflake gobo down there. So this is the lens for keeping it in focus, and the gobo wheel is down below it. So let's see if this just pop off or if I have to break that. So there's actually more Torx screwdrivers. There's more Torx screws down here. So let's undo these real quick. There's one right here. One right here. I'm just going to let these fall into the case. I'm not too worried about them. Let me see if that pulls out there now. Nope, I got to undo these other two as well. There's one right here. I'm using a white piece of paper because this is a black housing on this thing. So it'd make it kind of hard to see against my overly huge mouse pad here on my table. So I've got that off. Let's see if this comes out any easier. So there's your screws. that pop out of it. But the gobos come loose. For some reason, the rest of it is not coming loose. So is there some screws that I am missing? Let's see if I'm missing any. Now, the wheel is just crimped on by this wheel right here. It's got I'm not sure what you call the bracket that's on this thing that actually holds it on, but it's press fit over it, and it looks like that's what holds this lens on. So I'm going to try to pop this off without shooting it across the room here, and see if I can get this off real quick. I gotta get some better lighting if I'm going to be doing this small stuff. So let's pop this lens off. So this lens just comes off, and that's your focal lens. That's going to bring it into view depending on where it's set inside the machine. There's the shaft that spins that, and here's the gobos. So the gobos are housed on this plastic thing, and there's your gobo wheel. So there's the Let It Snow, the Snowman, the Snowflake, 2 different snowflakes. So underneath that, there is another set of lenses for the LEDs. Holding that down is 2 Phillips screws. So let me grab my Phillips screwdriver here. Let's undo these. I wonder if I need to raise the brightness on my camera here just a little bit. There, that seems to help. Another one here. Okay. So that will allow this lens to come out now. And with that lens out, there's a couple more screws down here. So let's go ahead and undo these screws here. What I'm coming to find out, with it being a display, I figured it would have the display would be the original sort of thing, and they just bump it down to run off a lower voltage. So I figured I would have some 1 watt LEDs in here, or 3 watt LEDs, kind of like a Luxstar shaped LED, but it's not. These are actually, looks like they're going to be the 5mm LEDs. So here's the actual device here. So you've got your motor here, gear reduction here to reduce it down, and you have 5mm LEDs, just different color LEDs. So that's kind of interesting because I thought it would be a 1 watt LED. So let's take this apart. And what I'm thinking is there's not going to be any circuitry to this except for some resistors for the LEDs. There's nothing smart going to be on this. There's not going to be a chip because it doesn't do any different patterns or anything like that. It's just going to be just your basic motor geared down, and then it's going to be running into some resistors for the LEDs, and that's going to be it. I'm wondering if this is the same board that they would be using on the original. They just put different LEDs. But it looks like it may be a board that's made for a display by itself. So let's lower the light here so you can read this. So that's the display board. There's the resistors and the motor with the gear reduction. So let's turn this on while I've got it apart and look at it. So if I turn it on, you'll notice there is 2 white and 2 blue. Let's see. Let me lower my lighting a little bit and try not to blow the camera out too bad here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's 2 blue and 2 white LEDs. The 2 blue or the 2 white ones are going to be here, and the 2 blue ones are going to be here. The motor does turn at a slow pace. If I put the lens back on it and just set it on there, we'll show you how slow that actually moves. And that's what actually keeps the gobos and everything in focus. And then your LED lens right here to put the LEDs at a sharper point and just to brighten them up a little bit. So there's nothing much to that, actually, and I may hold on to this so we can modify it, see if we can smarten it up a little bit, put some, see if we can make some gobos of our own and put in there, because that'd be kind of neat to be able to customize this and see what we can do with it. So if you guys like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. Definitely comment, subscribe, share. Let me know if you guys want to see anything else torn apart. I've got a bunch of these lights. I've got a couple of them behind me that are different. Like this one's like almost like a party ball style. That we'll take apart and definitely see what's inside of these as well. So like I said, again, thanks guys. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get into some interesting stuff as I tear some of the stuff apart that I get it. So thank you, and we'll talk to you guys on the next one.